I want to talk about software a little bit because the world of software is changing quite a bit, and I'm sure in the next 5 or 10 years it will have changed substantially from the way it is now. But there is an open source movement in software. Open source software is free; it's available at no cost. But the key aspect of open source software is that the source code, the actual programming code, is available freely online. And what that means is that if you're a computer programmer, you can just get the source code and go in and change the software to do exactly what you want it to do. And it's really it's a useful thing to have open source software out there. And like I say, at the most basic level, it's free, but that's not really the key to open source. You might think it's the key if you're just a user, but that's not really only part of it. So for productivity software at SMC, we use Microsoft Office, and I think you can install Microsoft Office on your home computer as long as you're a student. Once you're not a student anymore, I think it'll still work for a little bit, for maybe a month or a couple months, but then it's not going to work for you anymore. And I think now we're actually at the point where you can't even buy Microsoft Office. I think you can really only rent it, so you have to pay this ongoing fee to keep using that software. And that's actually a real problem, because that fee may seem cheap because compared to buy the whole thing all at once, but you're going to be paying it for the rest of your life. They went to this software rental structure because the software company is going to make a lot more money doing it that way. So for productivity software, an alternative to Microsoft Office is an open source suite of programs called Libreoffice, and it's basically like Microsoft Office. If you can use Microsoft Office, you can use Libreoffice without any problem. And it's open source, so you can get the source code if you want to, but it's free, it's legal. They have it for, I think, pretty much any operating system, so it doesn't matter if you're using Windows or Mac or Linux or whatever. You can download Libreoffice. It's also compatible with Microsoft Office files, so if you've got Word files, you can load them into the word processor of LibreOffice and work with them and save them in Word format. So it's really useful. So there's a spreadsheet. They have their own version of PowerPoint, and it'll read Microsoft PowerPoint presentations also. So very useful if you haven't heard about it. I think it's getting more well known these days, but it is very useful. So it's something you should know about. You've got the link here if you want to go get it. In terms of statistics, when we're doing statistical analyses in this class, normally we usually just use Microsoft Excel, which is the spreadsheet that comes with Microsoft Office. Excel will do very simple statistics. It'll do simple ANOVAs, it'll do t-tests. It's obviously not open source, it's not free, but you have free access to it through SMC, so even though it isn't really free at the moment anyway, you've got free access to it. It's business software, and they just don't do very sophisticated statistical analyses. So as long as you're doing something simple, Excel is fairly straightforward to use, and it'll work, but as soon as it gets even a tiny bit sophisticated, Excel is not going to help you anymore. There are several extremely powerful statistical programs out there. SAS, which is statistical analysis software, I believe, SPSS, statistical package for the social sciences. So there are some of these big, powerful software packages out there that will do incredible statistics, and they're all extremely expensive. They're up in the neighborhood of $1,000. So it's not the sort of thing you're going to easily be able to get and just put on your laptop at home. R is the exception to that. R is extremely powerful. It is as powerful as these commercial software packages. And it is used, it's research quality. So if you start looking at scientific papers that have been published in the last 10 or 15 years, if you look in the methods section, they usually are citing R as being the statistical software that they use to do their analyses. So it's very powerful. It's actually a programming language, and they do have libraries posted online that will add functions to R. So if R can't just by itself do some statistical analysis, there is almost certainly a library that you can install for free into R that will be able to do it. So really powerful, really good. It does you can make publication quality graphs using R, and it's free. It's open source and it's free. So you've got the link there where you can download it. And it's just you don't need to do it for this class, but I just want you to know that it exists, so you don't have to spend any kind of money for a software package. Just get R. Now the disadvantage of R is that the learning curve is pretty steep, and I must say it's also steep on these other sophisticated statistical packages. So it's not like it's different there. The learning curve is definitely steep, but if you're going to spend the time to learn one of these packages, I would learn R, because R is freely available. So you can't just download that, put it on your computer if you need to do this. And, you don't need to right now, but in the future you might. So just remember that R is out there. In terms of manipulating images, this is something that can be really useful and really important when you're writing papers. There are some open source options out there. The GIMP is the main one, which is it's similar to Photoshop. It's not nearly as good and not nearly as powerful, but it's open source and it's free, and you've got the link so that you can just download it right there. Affinity Photo is competition for Photoshop, and it is basically as powerful as Photoshop, and I think it'll do pretty much anything Photoshop will do. There are a few things it might do better, and it's much cheaper than Photoshop, much cheaper. It's I think $30 or $50 or something to own it, not to rent it. So it's not open source software, but it's very affordable, extremely powerful. So if you want Photoshop but you don't want to pay for it, just get Affinity Photo and you'll be in business. And then ImageJ is an interesting bit of software, because ImageJ is not for manipulating a photograph like you would do in Photoshop. So GIMP and Affinity Photo are both basically for manipulating photos for the most part. ImageJ is image analysis software, and what it was originally written for was to, if you imagine you've got petri dishes with bacterial colonies on them, and so if you take pictures of all those petri dishes, one of the things that you could do with ImageJ would be to easily calculate the area on each dish that's covered with bacteria, because you can count the pixels of various colors and shades of those. So it's really for doing certain kinds of image analysis, but it's free, it's available online, you can just download it. Portable applications can be really useful, especially if you are often operating in an environment like SMC, where at least when you're on campus, you've got access to computers all over the place, but you are not able to install anything on them, and they may not have the software you need, or even if they do, they may not have the exact version of what you need. So portable applications are certain kinds of open source software that will run on a computer without actually being installed on that computer. And so what you can do is you can have portable applications on a USB drive, and you can log into a computer on campus, plug in your USB drive, and then run your own program directly from your USB drive. You're not changing the hard drive on the computer that you're using at all. You're just using that USB drive. So there's a platform called Portable Apps, which is a really good one for portable applications, and it's got a little interface that gives you a menu, start menu, with all the applications you can install on your USB drive, and it's really useful, organizes it really well, and on their website they've got hundreds and hundreds of applications that you can download. So for instance, if you get used to using Libreoffice, I don't think Libreoffice is installed on any computers on campus, but there's a portable version of it, so you can have it installed on a USB drive and you can use it. You can have your own web browser. There's a portable version of Chrome, so you can have your own copy of Chrome stored on a USB drive with your own bookmarks and your own ad blocker or whatever extensions you want, and you can run it just off of your own thumb drive. Also, we talked about R being a really powerful statistical analysis program. R is not installed on computers on campus. However, it will run as a portable app, so you can run it just off of a USB drive. And even though it's just a little USB drive, you have the full power of R available to you, so you can do that. So anyway, really useful thing to know about if you're in certain kinds of computing environments like SMC. So I'm not sure if a lot of people